Hey guys, welcome to the AHL Hearing Aids Mid-Season Show. I'm your host, the Young Buck, the Utica Comets GM, and with me today we have Dan Hutton, the GM of the Milwaukee Admirals. So today we're going to be talking about the couple trades that have been happening in the last couple weeks, couple big trades, couple small trades, and some strange notes in the trades, because why not? And some notes can be very interesting. And we're also going to talk a bit about the All-Star game and how there's a little bit of controversy about the date and timing of the All-Star game this weekend. So we're going to send it off to Dan. We're going to go back to a trade from 2 weeks ago. Well, not 2 weeks ago, but last weekend. Big 7-man trade between Utica and Lehigh Valley.
It's one sec, bringing it up here.
No problem.
Yeah, so the Utica Comets have traded Devon, III, Sidonian Knight, Caddy, and Insurance Policy to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms for Kronk C97, Convict U, and Powda P. So that's a pretty big trade, one of the biggest of the season for sure. Some really impactful pieces that were shared within those two teams. In my opinion, it seems like Utica definitely got the better end of that deal. Convict U is a pretty sweet player, and we all know who Cronksy is. What do you think? What do you think, Buck? That was your trade. How long did that take to get it finalized?
Well, since Cronksy got put on Lehigh Valley, Pivot and I had been talking with Snoopy on LG, and we had like 6 pages of LGPMs, and then I finally decided to get down to business, and I went on WhatsApp, and it took 22 hours straight of negotiating with Snoopy. At first, it started off as a one for one with draft picks, and then it moved to like a 2-for-1, and then a 3-for-1, and ended up being a 5-for-5 at one point with one TC player involved and 9 roster players. And then we finally came to an agreement for the 4-for-3 possible future considerations. Um, so yeah, his on Snoopy's standpoint, it was more of a I need chemistry with some lines. So he got Devin insurance policy for that, and he boosted his defense with Caddy since he got rid of Great Ovechkin, and I think who went inactive right after the trade to chill
Yeah,
it out.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And then he was getting Sebi Sidonian Knight. I think he was just a shipping tool to send him over to Bakersfield for something else so he can go play with Wonger. We picked up Convict and Powder, who are both good friends of Pivot and I. Well, Convict, I've known him since season 6 of the CHL. He was on my line that went to the Memorial Cup. Great left wing. He's very solid. So picking up a first line left wing in the AHL, and then we picked up Cronksy, who's another first line left wing in the AHL. That bolstered our team, especially for Cronksy's 500K contract. I think that was kind of a joke, and yeah, I haven't stopped getting messages since. So it's always
Yeah,
great.
I wouldn't doubt that you haven't stopped getting messaged. 500K for that type of player is a great deal.
So we're gonna move on to our next big trade that I found. We're actually gonna talk right about Sebi again. We're gonna go a Bakersfield Condors trade Riles 4, Arabs and Horvat 53 to Lehigh Valley for Kirachi and Sidonian Knight. So that completes the Sebi going over to play with Wonger trade. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, so they played together on Hershey, I'm pretty sure, at the beginning of the season, and then Wonger got traded to Bakersfield, I think. And then I guess so Sidonian Knights, I guess they're buddies, so they were trying to play together this season. So, hey, good for Sidonian. He gets to go play with his buddy. And Bakersfield's a team that can surprise people. Like, I think that fourth spot is either going to be taken by Stockton or Bakersfield. So it'll be interesting to see down the stretch of the season to see who takes it.
Yeah, exactly.
But A-Robs, Riles, and Karachi, those are TC players. And same with Horvat, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually just saw Horvat get called up, if I'm not too mistaken.
But I know Riles. He used to play like for 3 or 4 seasons in a row in Milwaukee with when Faces was there. So
Yeah, I think he switched to D this season. That's why he's not on an AHL roster. I think so.
that'll definitely do it. Moving on to another trade, we're gonna go ahead and look at the what was it? Oh, the Charlotte Checkers trade Justice Media to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms for A-Robs. In the trade notes, we just thought this one was hilarious because it says Matt Gross agrees that Snoopy is prettier than Titus. I'm pretty sure both of these guys are TC players. Nothing big about the trade, just trade notes again we thought was hilarious. So, yeah. And then we're going to move to another Charlotte trade. It's Charlotte trades Cruelty and TBU the Tiny to San Antonio for X Wally Mac X. In the trade notes, both teams agreed to no compensation. There's an NHL component to this trade. The NHL component is not executed. Both teams agree to reverse the trade. Titus is very pretty.
I love these little messages here. These are great.
So I think Macros is kind of sitting on Titus's tip because he realizes he's being a bad boy lately. So we'll be seeing how these no comp and Titus notes are going.
He's probably flattered. Here, let's move back a little bit to this trade. Stockton trades R. Donnelly 7, Outlaws 75, Watergun 13, X Poppy Gonzalez to the Toronto Marlies for McFlurry 21. It's a pretty massive trade if I say so myself.
I didn't even see that one. I completely skipped over it. Outlast is an amazing defenseman. I've played with him before. He's been on my team before, and he came from a better team to my shitty team last season, and he helped us win so many games at the end of the season.
Yeah, McFlurry's a stud. He was my line mate last season. We're still really good buddies. Good for McFlurry. He gets to go play. I know he has some friends over there on Stockton, some Frenchy buddies, so that'll be good for him. Poppy goes, I guess he's McFlurry's replacement on that top line with Poop and Mies. As Toronto's trying to get back in that playoff hunt. As I say, the East, as we talked about last show, the East is so wide open. You make a couple good trades, and then your guys start playing to their true potential, and you're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's not too big of a gap still. We still got what's this, week 6 coming up?
Yes.
So we still have
6 games left in the season.
Yeah, that's a ton of games to get back. I don't think they're out of the playoffs by that much.
So now we're going to talk about the controversial, one-sided Springfield is blowing up their team trade. So Springfield Falcons trade Kerm, Devil's Knight, and Motown, so their top 3 players, to the Cleveland Monsters for Kemper 8, Fake Father, and Made of 21 Faces. Very one-sided.
Yeah, very, very one-sided. JJ gave away his best 2 defensemen and one of his best forwards for sure. He did get Faces back in the deal, which I was surprised. I didn't think Faces would be able to move anywhere with his 7.5 cap hit, but yeah, I guess things happen, right? But that gives Cleveland such a huge edge, and I think that's everyone's favorite to win the Calder this year for sure. Now I thought that team's biggest hole, I think I might have said that on the last week's show, was that defense was their biggest show, or biggest, what word am I looking for here? The biggest crutch to the team, sort of a thing. And now they just got 2 top pairing guys that love playing together and have great availability. So, they're definitely a scarier team for sure. I don't know how good Kemper or Fake Father is. I've never played with them personally, so I don't know how they match up with those 2, but
yeah. And I heard a major reasoning for JJ making that trade is Faces of leading the league in goals. Yes, he may be leading the league in goals, but you just lost a 40 to 50 point guy already. So
yeah, just the thing about Kerm and Faces is Faces is the better player. Especially even though Kerm's putting up crazy amounts of points and was drafted so high, he's just been playing third lines. I like the guy; he's a great guy, but he's not as good as Faces. And Faces is a vet; he's been around a while. He knows the league pretty well. He knows what's going on. He's not a fuck around guy. I know Kerm was playing enforcer on Springfield, so that probably didn't help JJ's team too much. But JJ's team's making the playoffs no matter what. You look, they're in the 4th seed right now, and the 3 teams under that are the Providence, the Bridgeport, and the Hershey. So I don't think any of those 3 teams are going to be able to catch his team, especially I think they have a pretty big point gap right now. There's still a lot of time to go and things can happen, but JJ's gearing up for playoffs, and if he gets a made of two faces in there, it can add a lot of goal scoring to your roster for sure. Losing those two defensemen hurts for sure, but I'm sure JJ can come up with something, and his team will still be a good playoff team.
And then speaking of another two JJ trades, first we have Ontario Reign trade Vanillix and nothing to the Springfield Falcons for nothing and C Reebok.
Yeah, so, nothing getting traded for each other.
So Vanillix for Reebok, that was a no comp trade, and then they flipped Vanillix right away, and Springfield traded Vanillix and Potato to your team for Parkinson, Snipa, and Kogar. Talk about that trade.
Potato is Dunks' like best buddy. They're pretty good friends. Dunks has been trying to acquire Potato all season. I think we were gonna look at drafting him, but unfortunately, I just had too low of draft picks to even try. Vanillix is a player that he's kind of new to the league, but he's been on Ontario the last couple seasons. I think last season, this season, put up pretty good points. And I've heard from multiple people that he's a really good player and a nice guy. He's actually friends with McFlurry, so that's kind of where I heard of him. I traded away Kogar, who's been awesome for my team. That was a really hard sell for me. He's 500K, great D-man. I think he's 6-0 in his last 6 games for me. So it was definitely hard trading him, and he's a great guy too. Parkinson's is a buddy, but didn't really work out too well on my line with me and Gentry. So still trying to shake things up there. So we'll see if Vanillix fits a little bit better. I'm just trying to get that chemistry for my line so we can do better in the playoffs. I think the trade was pretty good. It's forward for forward, D-man for D-man sort of a thing. JJ was saying that those players didn't want to play for him, so he wanted to try and ship them off.
Yeah.
So
I heard a couple times from both your goalies since I played club with them that they're worried now that Dunks and Potato are going to be playing together. It's two offensive defensemen now.
But people think that, but Potato, when he plays with Dunks, he's just pure shutdown and lets Dunks do his thing. Yeah, it's kind of funny though. When I added Potato into my group chat, him and Dunks instantly started going back and forth. It was pretty funny. We have a little thing called the Dunktatorship on our team. So it's anyone kind of messes up, Dunks will boot them from the group chat and say you need a timeout sort of a thing. But
go take it out.
I don't know. I felt bad with Dunks because I've been playing him with different D partners every week since the start of the year, and he hasn't been able to play with someone that he's truly really meshed with. So it's nice to kind of solidify that D pair. That'll be my top D pair for sure going into the playoffs. So I'm pretty stoked about that for sure. Dunks has already been having a great season after a pretty bad week 1, but it's nice to help him out, especially because he's been, around my team and helping me out and everything like that. It's nice to kind of give him something that he wants, especially since he's down in the AHL this season to help me out. It's kind of that played into it as well. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week. Vanillix is more than likely going to play with me, and Potato's going to be with Dunks. So we'll see what happens.
All right, we're going to move on to a trade from yesterday afternoon. Macros. Charlotte trades Legend Reigns to the Toronto Marlies for Dorksey and Demon 12. And I'm kind of disappointed with Macros because there's no funny type of
no funny.
Trade nets. It's just no comp. So.
Yeah, I've been hearing that Reigns has got some connection problems, but I know I've played with him before. I know he's a great goalie. But if a goalie's got connection problems, that can really mess up your game. I know for me personally, when there's a lag out, I end up doing nothing that game because I'm so frustrated with having to back out, take picks, get back, take picks, and do everything like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely interesting. I think Legend Reigns is the better goalie. So I think Toronto's getting the better guy there. So it's interesting.
He's moving to Canada, so he's going to have a better connection just in general.
Oh, is he? I heard he's a scout, actually, in his real job. He's a scout for one of the teams or something, so he's been moving around a lot. But it's definitely a great trade for Toronto. absolutely, especially because they're trying to get back in the playoffs. Horty's been pretty active on the trade front, trying to improve his team as much as possible. So this was a good step forward. They're getting a really good goalie, and they already have Smelly Kickbutt. Smelly Kickbutt, I think his name is. He's been pretty good this.
Like
He's been pretty good this season. So that's a pretty good tandem. For sure.
Next, we're going to move up forward to a trade between two really shitty teams. We have the Hershey Bears trade Ravitch and Karisu to the Bridgeport Sun Tigers for Gotham Bat and Ghost 53. I know Ravitch is inactive, so Bridgeport already loses that trade. But I think it's an all TC trade, I believe. I don't know.
Trying to find this trade, Buck. Where are you going?
That was yesterday at 11 a.m. It's just above the.
I see it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, because the way that worked was Master Puda was on Hershey, and then he got traded to Rochester.
Yes.
Right, for Dragon, Prodigy, and Ravix, and then they traded Ravix to Bridgeport. Yeah, Ravix is apparently he's enlisting in the army, so that's why he's not active. So it's interesting that his name has been traded 6 times or something like that so far. So that's pretty crazy.
And I was getting pictures saying he's a top player. He's a top player. He's a top player. Yes, he's a top player, but he's not active.
Yeah. So what's the point?
So that one Bridgeport automatically loses. I don't care if any of those other players are active. They lose because they got an inactive player.
Seems like it's more or less a TC trade sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we do that Texas and Grand Rapids trade.
Go for it.
All right. So Texas traded Fuzzbot, MVP Hudson, I think his old game tag was Hoodstar, and D-Winger to the Grand Rapids Griffins for Demented Christ, Justin X39, and Ashes in Faith. What's your opinion on that?
That's a big trade. Demented and D-Winger are both really solid goalies, so that's I don't know if D-Winger is playing goalie this season, but
yeah, he is.
Yeah, they're both solid goalies. So I don't know much about the other ones. I've heard Fusebot's okay from previous talks about him. So.
I think Ash has been in the NHL the past 2 seasons. I know he's a pretty solid D-man. I think Texas might have won this trade. To be honest with you, I think they might have actually upgraded on all 3 positions. I heard this Justin guy's great. He was an older guy. I think back in season 18, he had a really good year, and that's kind of where he struck my radar in bidding. But I ended up going in a different direction. But I think it'll be interesting to see. Texas is definitely gearing up for those playoffs. I don't see any picks or anything else, so it seems like it was a 3-for-3 straight up. No other additives, so it'll be interesting. I feel Texas won the trade. To be fair, I think they might have upgraded on all 3 positions. To be honest with you,
Demented is a great goalie, but I think he's been struggling this season with the new game and all that. It is a tough game to play goalie. I can attest to that. Figuring I play in 2 leagues. In 1 league, I lead the league in save percentage and goals against average, and in another league, I'm getting absolutely train railed. So.
Yeah, Demented was on my team at the start of the season. I moved. What the hell is this guy saying now?
Is there any fisting in that live stream?
Oh no, that's a different guy. That's not the Grand guy.
Whatever. It's still Grand.
What's him call it? So next trade to move on to
another big player trade.
You want to talk about the Rockford one there? Yeah, San Diego Rockford.
So San Diego Gulls trade Perks and Martin scores easy to the Rockford IceHawks for Kiro, Orpix Cornhole, and the Angry Mormon. That's I find that a very lopsided trade for San Diego in this case, and I think they win this trade. Kiro's a stud. He played on my team. He plays on a bunch of my teams, actually. He's a really good player when he wants to perform. Orpix and Mormon, they're both good. I've played with them too. They're second, third line guys, but they're solid second, third line guys, and they can hold their own. And I know Scorsese was just a huge contract, and he wasn't fitting in well with San Diego. So
Yeah, he was one of the 6 mil plus guys, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting trade for sure. It's in my division, so it's definitely something that I pay attention to for sure. I think Kiro is definitely a solid forward, so San Diego is definitely getting great pieces back. Scorsese, obviously, he's a big fish in the AHL for sure. Hasn't been having the greatest season over there in San Diego, but I guess it's San Diego. It can be attributed to San Diego not being the greatest team. So maybe San Diego's trying to go for that late push. They're in the division where the top 3 spots are pretty much sealed, and then it's either going to be Bakersfield or Stockton taking that last, in my opinion, anyway. So maybe they're trying to sneak on in there.
But wait, the San Diego Gulls trade Bernhard 88, Kiro, and the Angry Mormon to the Bridgeport Sound Tigers for B-Dub and Matt, part of an NHL deal.
Oh, so they flipped him, eh?
He's gone. He's gone to Bridgeport to go rot.
Yeah, that sucks for those players. That B-Dub guy is pretty good. I know that for sure. Yeah, Matt was a draft pick this season.
Matt is a solid player. I've played with him for a couple seasons. French player, but really good. Normally averages over 100 points in every other league besides LG. So he's got thumbs, and he can definitely hold his own. And going to San Diego is going to be a better thing for him than playing on Bridgeport. So.
Yeah, I think that B-Dub guy is actually a really good team. I think he was an 8th overall draft pick this season.
Was he? Really?
Yeah, so that's definitely an interesting trade. They kind of just instantly swapped him over, eh? Like that was no time whatsoever. So it's an interesting trade.
Yeah, that trade was.
I don't know. I think it's more even than people would think. Bernhard's a pretty good D man. He's really offensive, and Kiro's a good forward. I think just for the sheer fact of Kiro being better than Matt, in my opinion, I would say that Bridgeport might have won that trade.
But will it actually help?
Or sorry, yeah, Bridgeport. Yeah, no, I don't think it'll really help them. They're still not going to make playoffs. But again, like they're trying to catch JJ's team, the Springfield Falcons, in my opinion. There, so
I feel like Lang didn't even make that trade. I feel like that was all part of the NHL trade.
Maybe. Do we know what the NHL pieces were?
I can double check that right now. Give me a second. That's between Anaheim and New York Islanders, correct?
Yeah.
I'm looking for it. I don't even see a trade between Anaheim and the Islanders.
Maybe it was a draft pick trade and it hasn't gone through or something like that.
I don't see any trades, so maybe they just haven't made their trade yet. But
it's quite possible. It was made at 10:30 last night, so maybe it's gonna get done today. We'll see.
I just got a message from Vadi. Actually, he says he traded Kiro because he heard attitude issues. Kiro, it can be a little bitch, and he cries about things sometimes. And then he says B-Dub and Hope played for 3 seasons together, and Savvy and Matt played well together with the Tigers. So
he's getting chemistry, sort of a thing. That's a good plan.
And he's losing some attitude. Like Kiro's a good player; he'll show up, but there's a little bit of attitude that you got to deal with.
Yeah.
So, then we have the funny back and forth trade. Cleveland's owner trades Spas to Springfield for Hot Wing Law, and then an hour later it was reversed by Winston, and then 10 minutes after the reversal it was redone Spas to Springfield for Hot Wing Law to Cleveland. So,
yeah, I'm not too sure why it was reversed. It didn't give a reason, but it's kind of interesting to see that go 3 times, right?
Yeah, back and forth. It goes Cleveland had Spas, then Springfield traded Spas, and then Cleveland traded Spas again. So I don't know what's going on with that.
I don't know. I think Spas was in the NHL, wasn't he? Pretty sure he was down on what team was he on? He was on Bakersfield. He was drafted by Edmonton. Went
Yeah.
down to Bakersfield, played on Bakersfield. He was then traded to, was it Hershey? I think he was traded to Hershey and then
Okay.
somehow made it over to Cleveland. And then I think he got called up and then got traded around in the NHL. And I guess now he's back in the AHL. So I don't
Yeah.
know. He's been
I'm
kind of
checking.
tossed around a lot.
Um,
Hotton Law is a good player. I think he's got really crappy availability. So
Here, let me see. He got drafted 9th overall. Then with Edmonton, they sent him
yeah.
to the Condors, and he was put on waivers, and he was acquired by the Cyclones. Then he came back and was traded to Hershey, who traded him to Texas. Texas sent him up to Dallas, and then he was traded to Columbus. Columbus sent him down to Cleveland, and then they traded him to the Thunderbirds, and then they sent him back up to the Blue Jackets, and then the Blue Jackets traded him to Dallas. They traded him back to Dallas, back to Columbus, and then they sent him down to Cleveland, and then retraded him to Springfield.
What the hell?
That's last little bit happened between at 12:30 this morning, and so starting from the Blue Jackets have traded him to the start. Sorry, Blue Jackets got him from the Stars. That was at 10:45 last night, and then there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 moves within 2 hours for Claus. 8 moves. Nobody deserves to be traded 8 times or moved 8 times in a span of 2 hours.
Just get spammed with notifications.
Then again, I did do something similar in season 22 when I was Portland's GM. We did a circle jerk trade, myself with 3 other teams, and we just traded one guy around the circle for 2 hours. He got moved 48 times in the span of 2 hours. So
What was the player's name?
I don't remember, but he rage quit the league after that.
That seems like a fair way to quit. No ban for him.
He wasn't very good. He was a CHL TC that was really mad because he wasn't getting called up to either the CHL or the AHL, and so he was a first liner. But he had played 2 CHL games against the CHL third lines because he played on my buddy's team, and he had gotten he was like a minus 13 in 2 games. So
definite first line TC. Yeah.
So we traded him. It was kind of funny. You have any other trades that you want to stand out to you?
I think there was one actually that we might have overlooked. I'll find it here.
I love how Chicago traded nothing. Traded 4 guys to San Diego for nothing for NHL.
Yeah, I was talking to Draisaitl, the St. Louis owner, about that. He was working on a trade in the NHL to get a player and then to flip him for a draft pick, and so this was part of the trade where he was sending over the TC players. But apparently Chicago wasn't really using them too much, so it wasn't really a big deal. So it was definitely, yeah, it says right here completed an NHL deal. So yeah, it was part of an NHL deal. So it's not the biggest deal. Oh yeah, this is the one here. So Rockford trade Ricky Spanish and Slugger to the Albany Devils for Healthy Scratch and Sipsick.
Yep, I saw that one coming. Healthy Scratch used to be the 7th defense. He is very, very close friends with I'm Fourth Line, where they know each other in real life. I know them both. They normally manage together, and when they're not, they typically are on the same team. And I think Fourth Line's been going after him all season long. So it's to me, it's really not surprising. I don't know what positions Healthy's playing this season.
He's playing lefty.
Okay, so nothing new there. He's a decent defenseman. He can hold his maybe third line, but I don't know. He's nothing special.
Seemed like it was D for D and then TC for TC sort of a thing. The Slugger's a D-man on Rockford too. Yeah, so it's definitely just Fourth going after his buddy for sure. But I don't know.
Slugger's not bad.
Rather have people that you're familiar with on your team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always nice. This trade as well, actually, Sims QC and
Oh,
Jojo What and Etchy for Castor and Pollux from San Jose.
yep.
Stars and a third to the Sharks. It's kind of an interesting trade. I see the Sharks have been making a lot of deals recently. Ever since Steiny got banned, they went they went 7-1-1, I think, last week or
Like
the
the
week
week
before
just
that.
did. Let me double
Yeah.
check that. I can check that.
Seems like they're trying to make a push. They got that Sin peacekeeping guy. I think he was a random vet that was assigned to them, and he went 6-0 in the first week
Oh,
there.
Sin Peacekeeping is really good. Like
Yeah.
really good. Here I'm trying to find it. Let's see. San Jose. San Jose went 2-6, 2-6 this week, so they probably went 7-2 last week.
Yeah, so they had that one like amazing week, and then
Back to usual.
yeah. I don't see them really making a push for the playoffs. Do you want to
No, not really.
maybe move on from the trades and maybe talk about you're kind of strapped for time today, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe you want to
I can talk about the All Star.
yeah. Okay, you want to move on to the All Star game, and then maybe just if we have some time, we can talk about who we think the playoff teams will be.
Yeah. So for this season's All Star game, as previously mentioned in the last show, we're trying to get it this Friday. There's been a lot of controversy because it's American Thanksgiving on Thursday, which I still find really weird since Thanksgiving in Canada is on a Monday, which would kind of make a little more sense since it's part of the weekend. Um, and then Black Friday's on Friday. And I understand that a lot of players do travel and see family, but again, Thanksgiving is on Thursday, Black Friday is on Friday, and we wouldn't be playing until like 9:30, 10 o'clock regular game times. On Black Friday, people are done shopping probably by 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, so that shouldn't be an issue. Um, there are tons of people in the LG community that aren't Americans, so they can play as well, or they just it's Friday, it's past Thanksgiving, they will have the time. So I understand that there's going to be controversy, regardless of when the All Star game is. There's going to be controversy. So this is the set date for it. Whether you like it or not, this is what's going to be happening. I know the Thursday games for LG are pushed to Tuesday at 10:30. So sorry, 11:30. Tuesday
On
11:30.
Wednesday 11, isn't it, or is it Tuesday
No, it's
11?
Tuesday
Oh,
11:30.
three
Titus
games
told
on
me.
Tuesday. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Titus reminded me that last night. So yeah, because there's no Thursday games, Friday. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there's still Friday Night Puck. So if there's Friday Night Puck, there should be no issue for there to be All Star Game. So
I think
um,
we'll be fine, honestly. I think more or less it's the people that have been complaining I've noticed are either managers or people that don't really have a chance of getting into the All Star game per se. So it's kind
yeah,
of they're getting really annoyed with that. But it's for fun, right? So it's a bit of a competition. I like the comparison of East versus West in the final game or whatever,
yeah.
which is kind of nice.
I find a lot of managers are salty because they said no management are allowed. But
Yeah,
then people are always like, well, no one cares about the All Star Game, but 95% of the players in the All Star Game are management. So I'm trying to just take a different track away from management so that way the community can play and not just management because they have enough on their hands as it is with it being a weekend. They have normally it's trades, but and it's trade deadline weekend, so they'll be busy enough as it is. Um, as of right this second, there is 11 hours left until the AHL team GMs, so all 30 GMs, finish making the nominations to send to me and Dan for who could possibly be on the All Star teams. We're waiting on 4 teams left. 26 have made their picks and sent it to us, letting us know. And we're going to be gathering a list tonight and sending it off to your divisional team GMs so that way they can make their picks by Tuesday because it's either 7 or 8 players from each position, if not less, if that team decided not to nominate a player for that position. I am having trouble getting contact with a couple teams because they just utterly refuse to nominate something that Dan and I are running. So it sucks for them and it sucks for their whole team since some of their players deserve to be there and they won't be represented because their management are being jerks. So have you got anything to say on that, Dan?
I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous. Like there's a few managers. I don't want to name names because it's just I don't want to get them in trouble with their own players. But I don't know, if the players are smart enough, they'll figure it out when they see none of their players make the All-Star game. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, some managers decided that they didn't want to send us a lineup of players that they wanted to nominate, and so whatever, it's an easy 5 minute thing. You just name off a left wing, center, right wing, left D, right D, and goalie, and there you go. It takes 5 minutes out of your day, and you don't have to worry about it again. It's not like you're part of the All Star game. There's no managers, and you're not one of the divisional GMs. So it's just about your players, and for you not to nominate your players, it's kind of it's not a good thing to see on the league that you won't even you know you won't even give your players credit for what they've done this season. It's not really fair to them, in my opinion.
it's a slap in the face to them because they're busting their ass and performing for you. And if you're a bottom team and you're not nominating them because your team sucks and you have one of the top players in the league on your team and he's performing and a couple others are performing, like nominate them anyways. You don't have to nominate all six positions. Like if you've got one player that you want to nominate, nominate him. Like it's not that hard. So
I just don't think people understand that we're strictly doing this for the community. We're doing it for you guys. We're not doing it for any benefit to ourselves. We're not playing in the All-Star game. We're just helping organize it. It's for the players. We're not doing anything special. One player from my team is going to get in. One player from Buck's team is going to get in. There's no collusion. There's no I'm sending in 5 roster players from Milwaukee because committee guy and I say so. Everything's fair. We're just strictly doing this for the community and for the players that deserve to be in an All-Star game. The All-Star game the past couple seasons has been kind of shitty. Not the way that the format is, just the way that it's been run. So we're just trying to, change the whole attitude on the All-Star game.
we're trying to make it run and like people normally like set it up 2-3 days right before the All Star game. We're trying to set it up 2 weeks before the All Star game. So that way we have like a step by step by step by step, and then games. Like it's not hard. I know because there was no management that I think Pivot was possibly making a AHL management team to play the winning division of the All Star game, and they were going to do a best of 3 cup series. So I talked to Pivot about that, but he was interested in possibly making a AHL management team with 2 lines against the division team final.
That's just cheat code. Dunks and Surbatin as the D pair. That's not fair.
So we'll see. But as of right now, the All Star game is everything's running smoothly. We got most of the teams nominating their players. Our divisional team GMs we find aren't very well known, except for Wags and Nightmare. But the Eastern ones, anyways, they're not extremely well known. But this is a chance for them to show that they can manage and that it's not a fluke this season that they're there. So.
And they're both great guys, Frostic and John. I've had the pleasure of knowing John a lot, actually. I've known him for a year and some time now. He's on my Banana League teams and whatever when I'm an owner over there. But and Frostic's a great guy, too. I've had the pleasure of dealing with him this season and last season. So it's not like they're bad guys. Wags and Nightmare are great guys. Everyone knows them. They're huge community guys. So it's nice to see that all 4 of our guys that were our first choice, they've all decided that they would like to do it. That's great to see. I was kind of worried that maybe 1 or 2 of them may decide that they don't want to do it, but everyone was really excited and willing to do it. And it's the same. Like they get nothing out of it. They get, besides the chance to show people that they can be a great manager or bragging rights or something like that, but they're doing this for their players. They're doing this for the community. They're not getting paid to do it. They're doing it for fun. They're doing it because they want to help out. It's nice.
It is really nice. Now we're gonna say who we believe are gonna be the top 4 in each division that'll make the playoffs. I think I can say this for both of us. Eastern Atlantic is already locked in with the top 4.
I think we can safely say that those 4 teams will be making it. Maybe we just talk about the order. Because right now, the way that it goes, the Wilkes-Barre Stratton are first place with 61 points. The Lehigh Valley Phantoms are second place with 54 points. So there's a 7-point gap there. The Hartford Wolfpack are the third place team with 53 points. and the Springfield Thunderbirds are 4th place with 50 points. The next team after that's Providence, and there's a 17-point gap. And with 32 games left, obviously there's a possibility, but I really don't see JJ's team faltering that much, even after the trades that he's made. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're pretty 100% on those 4 teams being the playoff teams. So Buck, maybe you want to talk about what order you think they'll finish in?
1 and 4 are going to stay the same. I think Hartford's going to pass Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
I definitely think that Wilkes-Barre can win this division. They didn't make too many trades yet, but still trade deadline next week. So, but Springfield, even with their trades, they'll stay 4th, and Hartford. I think I've heard a lot of stuff going on with Snoopy's team, insider info, and I think they're gonna lose some pace a bit, and Hartford's gonna step it up. So.
Yeah, Lehigh's been pretty active on the trade front for sure. Wilkes-Barre, the GM over there, lost. He's been known not to get too rattled and change his roster around. It's what a vet GM would do, 100%. Like when things are going tough, you're not just going to trade away your entire roster. So that's nice to see. He's definitely going to come up with first in the division for sure. He's kind of in a league of his own there in that division for sure. I think his team is the top team in the East, if not the top 2 team. Maybe. Yeah. That was the old Stockton team. Yeah, I think he won a cup on the last game, right? First season.
Season 22.
Yeah.
With Crass.
Yeah. If Crass can step it, he's having a bit of a rough season. I don't know if it's internet. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't talked to him in a while, but
his back hurts from carrying Hockey Town Hero.
I think it might be the other way around. Actually, Hockey Town's having a great year, but shit, I mentioned him again on this podcast. Fuck, thought we weren't going to do that. So I think we can move on now. I think we know what those 4 playoff teams are going to be. So the Eastern North.
I feel like this is the division that's going to be the most flip-flop and close down to the wire race.
100%.
Between all 7 teams, because like Utico, yes, we lost our last 2 games, but we've slowly pieced our team together, and we can easily catch everyone because we're 6 points behind Toronto for 6th, and we're 10 points behind Rochester and Syracuse for 3rd and 4th. So It's not unattainable with 37 games left. I still think St. John's wins the division, but maybe by 1 or 2 points. I think they get to 90, 92, 93 points max this season. And 4th place finishes with like 86, 87. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be really tight. So.
Yeah, if you look at the last 10 over here, it seems like those top 4 teams, St. John's, Binghamton, Syracuse, and Rochester, they all had a great last week. Yeah. The Marlies also have been making a turnaround. I know Horty's been really active on the trade. He's been really trying to get his team there. They have the pieces. Honestly, they've got some good D-men, some good forwards, and a really good starter in Smelly Kickbutt. So honestly, like, who knows? Like, any one of these teams can go. I think St. John's finishes first. I think we can both agree on that for sure.
Yep.
Binghamton's on a 6-game winning streak. I just noticed that. But I think Syracuse takes 2. Personally,
I don't think Syracuse makes playoffs.
Really? So that's the team that you have falling out?
I have St. John's, Binghamton. I have Rochester, and I have Toronto jumping up to 4th.
Toronto jumping up to 4th. See, I have St. John's as number 1, Syracuse is number 2, Albany is number 3, and Binghamton is number 4. And that's what I see it playing out as. Binghamton, they're not a bad team whatsoever. I just think that they're going to falter toward the end of the year because people are going to start giving them better lines and stuff like that once they see how good this team's been playing recently. I've liked Albany's team since the start. I've said that. The top 2 forward lines on this team are awesome.
I think they're goaltending though.
Yeah, that seems like the problem. The one goalie, I think his name's Matt. I think his gamer tag is. He's been having a pretty good season. The defense definitely needs some work for Albany, but if Ruthless can figure out how to use a computer, I'm sure he can get onto LG somehow and make a trade or 2. Remember we said that in the last one that Rogue was saying that he's inept with computer skills or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he is.
I could see honestly like this. Besides St. John's being number 1, honestly, the rest of these teams can go any which way possible. I know
Exactly.
Rochester's made some trades recently, some good ones. I've liked some of the players they've gotten. Binghamton just waived Krug, I think his gamer tag is. He was at like
Yep.
4.75. He was a D-man last season, and now he switched to forward this season.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't work out too well for him, and that's a lot of cap space for someone that's not working. Toronto's been making a lot of trades. Albany's been kind of quiet on the trade front, but they just made that trade with Healthy Scratch and Slugger, so maybe Slugger can help that decor. Your team's been very active on the trades. You guys got Kronksy. Was it a Convict? Yeah, it was the other one. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting. It seems like all of these GMs want to make the playoffs. They're pretty committed. They're not selling. All of them think that they have a chance, which they do. So even Utica being 10 points out of the playoffs at this point, there's still 36 games left. Who knows, right? These teams can easily falter. It's not like there's that big of a point difference. Like there's a 4-win difference between your team and the 4th place team. It's not that hard for a team to go 4-5 in a week and your team to go like 7-2, and you're right there. You know what I mean? You're 2 points out or whatever the math ends up being. It's going to be, that division's going to be the best to see personally. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. You're kind of strapped on time here, eh?
That's all good. I can keep going.
All right.
Western Central, we have a 3-way tie for first with 62 points. We have Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Manitoba. We have Chicago at number 4 with 59 points. Rockford 5th, 56. Charlotte with 52. Grand Rapids is 47, and then Iowa we won't even talk about because they have 25 and they're 22 points behind 7th. So
yeah, and they've been forfeiting a lot this week.
Yeah, they're on a 7-game losing streak, which isn't new because they had a 10-game losing streak earlier this season. This is probably going to be the tightest top 4 teams really. Like my division is going to be the tightest division, but this is going to be the tightest race for the playoffs for like the top 3 teams to secure that home ice.
The top 6 teams in this division, including Charlotte and Rockford, Chicago, Manitoba, Cleveland, and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
All of these teams have great rosters. Personally, I think so. I know Grand Rapids is kind of falling out. They're close. They're 12 points out of the 4th, which obviously is possible. It is a lot, but they did go 6-4 last week, so they did have a positive week. They just need a team to falter, but it seems like they've been selling recently and kind of looking towards next year, it's totally okay. The Mentor and Dudley, they're great guys. If they're coming back next season, they can build a better team next year and have a better chance at the playoffs. Personally, the way that I see this division handing out, I see Cleveland finishing first place in the West.
100%.
Yeah. I see them passing my team for sure, and passing Manitoba. I think my team, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Manitoba will finish in the top 3. I think Cleveland will be number 1, and then my team in Manitoba will be dishing it out for 2 and 3.
Very close.
I do see Chicago finishing 4th place. I do see them getting in there. Draisaitl won't let his AHL team not make the playoffs, so he'll do everything in his power.
2-time defending champs.
Yeah, it would be huge if they didn't make the playoffs. Rockford is right there. They've been top of the Western Central since I think the first 2 or 3 weeks. I think I did say that I didn't think this team was that great, and they were getting fed 3rd lines. They're still keeping pace. They still have a good record. They went 6-4 in their last 10 games, so they're still playing good. And Charlotte, the last team that I think has a chance of making the playoffs, they're right there. Macros has got some high point scorers with Boone Snoop and Chris Breezer. Both of those guys have been lights out for him this season. I think they're actually 1 and 2 in points, or in the top 4 at least.
Yeah, I'll tell you in a second. They are Boone Sup's first, Breezer's tied for 3rd.
Yeah, you're looking at the goals for and the goals against here. I think my team has the least amount of goals against. Yeah, we've only let in 107. But you can see the issue with Charlotte's team is they've let up 172 goals. So I don't know if it's been their defense, it's been their goalies. I'm not too sure. But they just made a trade for Wallemack, who's a pretty good D-man. They traded away Reigns, which is definitely interesting for Dorksey. I personally don't think Dorksey's that great, so you might need to look at maybe acquiring a different goalie. Maybe Dorksey works out. Who knows? Macros is a pretty good GM. I think he'll do everything in his power to get his team to try and get his team into the playoffs for sure. But unfortunately, I just don't see that top four moving. I don't know. What do you think?
I think Rockford kicks out Chicago, but then again, with all the Rockford trades lately where they took out a lot of their top players, I don't know anymore.
Yeah. It'll be interesting for sure. I'm pretty excited to see what happens. There's some good teams in there. I think that the top three teams in the Western Central right now, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Manitoba, and the top three teams in the Western Pacific, which is the other division in the West, San Antonio, Texas, and Ontario. So that's the 6 teams. I think one of those teams wins Presidents, and then a separate team wins the Calder. That's my prediction. I think either San Antonio or Texas wins Presidents, but I think one of the 3 teams in the Western Central wins Calder. That's my personal opinion.
I can see it. The West is a powerhouse, but
it definitely is for sure. It's actually
the trades this weekend. So
yeah, it's actually a 5-way tie for first place in the league with 60 points, which is
all of them
interesting.
Are Western teams.
Yeah.
And then second is another Western team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Milwaukee, Cleveland, Manitoba, they'll battle. Cleveland wins first. Milwaukee, Manitoba battle it out for second, third. That'll be. I feel like they're going to tie, and then Chicago edges Rockford.
Yeah, after Rockford's made a lot of trade. Yeah, I really. Yeah, it's been interesting to see that the fourth line and his management, Tatar and FTMH Kill, I think his name. To see that they're trying to get their team in the playoffs. They're being really active on the trade front. I haven't liked how they've gotten rid of some of their top players. Like they had Kiro. I personally wouldn't have gotten rid of him if I was them. He can definitely provide some goal scoring for you guys for sure. But I think the biggest thing on Rockford is their defense, 100%. I think that's the big thing with Chicago, Rockford, and Charlotte. Like they have good pieces. Like Chicago's management of Landeskog, like on the back end, he's been great. But I think the rest of the decor for those 3 teams have been really lackluster this season.
Yeah, that is per usual. The Western stacks themselves offensively, but they don't trade anything off defensively.
And I would have grouped Cleveland in with those 3 teams with the defensive core, but with the acquisition of Motown and Devils, I think that personally makes Manitoba and Milwaukee's chances of getting first a lot harder.
Yeah, just a little.
They took out, I don't know what D pair that was or where they slotted in their D structure, but they added a first line D pair, so it'll be tough.
Jump quick over to the Pacific now because I'm running a little low with time here. We got San Antonio at 62 points. We have Texas with 62 points. Ontario at 61 points. Stockton with 55. Bakersfield with 52. Tucson with 47. San Diego with 37. And San Jose with 33. Top, on my opinion, top 4 lock-in. And Texas takes over first. Ontario takes over second. San Antonio takes third.
I could absolutely see that. Stockton has some really dominant forwards on their team. It's kind of interesting. Tucson was actually in and amongst that top 4 for a while, but it seems like they've really fallen off. Yeah. So their playoff chances, they're still there, but they might be fading.
Like shit, that's why. No, I'm not even kidding. He said it too.
Oh, really?
I'm playing like shit. Yeah, no. He's having some struggles too.
Bakersfield, their forwards, they have some great forwards. They got the commish on their team. But their decor, again, is really lackluster. I'm not too impressed with their decor.
All they really got up front is Brody, Wonger, Sebi, and Ellie.
Yeah, Bryce is good too.
Yeah.
Ontario has been pretty active on the trades. I think they absolutely make the playoffs. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They might even win that division. I'm telling you right now.
Possibly, absolutely. Texas was on a huge. I think they were on a 10-game winning streak. I'm pretty sure, but they see in their last 10, they're 4-4-2. So they've been I guess hence why
lackluster.
they made that pretty blockbuster trade there, if you want to say, with the 3-for-3.
Yeah,
Kind of helped out their team's chances. It'll definitely be interesting to see. I personally think a Calder Trophy will be awarded to a West team this season.
and the Calder and the Presidents are going to the West.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That
Uh,
it's not hard to debate. Like the Eastern teams, it's not even. Maybe Brooksbury comes close to the Presidents, but otherwise, no.
so you
There's
said those top four in the Western Pacific were a lock, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Like Bakersfield, maybe get closer, but like they're 3 points out. I think they get maybe within 1 or 2 points, but they're not going to make it.
So we don't think that there's really any movement in those top four besides the Eastern North, is what I'm
Yeah,
getting.
basically. So I
Okay.
think most top fours are locks already, but the Eastern
Okay.
North is such a shit show right now that anything can happen.
I think there's really only one team in that division that truly makes playoffs 100% in St. John's, but
Yeah,
we'll
unless
see.
something
It'll be
happens.
interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. It'll be fun to watch. I'm always checking in on the games, especially the guys in my division, to see who's winning and stuff like that. So it's definitely a fun time right now with the playoff push coming up. See what teams improve their team before the trade deadline. So definitely
Yeah,
fun to watch.
I've been watching a lot of live streams lately to check out players and like their tactics, especially in my division since we're going to be playing them a lot soon. So
Mhm.
player tendencies and stuff like that. It's a big thing. Um, so that completes this week's show. We'll be back on Tuesday or probably maybe Wednesday even to announce the All-Star teams for each division. I'm going to try and contact all the GMs for each division to see if they want to come on and actually announce their own teams. But if not, Dan and I will be here Tuesday night or Wednesday night, or yeah, Tuesday night or Wednesday
Whatever
night
works. Yeah, I'm pretty
to
open.
to announce the All Star teams for this season, and we're really excited about it. Like I said, the four guys that are taking the divisional teams are quite into it and are super excited to get into this. So, um, hope to see you guys on Tuesday or Wednesday. Until that, Dan, any last words?
No, just keep up. I guess keep trying to improve your teams, guys that aren't in the playoffs. Guys in the playoffs, don't falter. Get your guys motivated for this playoff run. Maybe give a nice inspirational speech, steal it from Braveheart, possibly, whatever you guys feel. I don't know. Just keep it up, I guess.
All right. So, see you guys next